Hello, TriPointe. Mike Lyon here from Do You Convert. I have the pleasure of working with your NHS team and the online sales program. And we've been working together for a long time. And have we had a great time? It's been awesome. We have so many fantastic new home specialists setting appointments like it's going out of style for all of you. And so I'm excited to spend just a few minutes with you here today. Most likely you're going to be watching this in either a sales meeting, or maybe you're brand new and you're coming on board and you're watching this video. We want to take you through the handoff process and why this is so important. We want to demystify what your online sales specialist is doing, the new home specialist, and show you what's going on behind the scenes and talk with you about best practices for increasing those conversion rates. And this has been proven year in and year out. We work with a lot of builders all over the country, and we see top performing markets even within TriPointe doing a great job of the handoff process. They do things a little bit differently. So if you want to make more money this year and you want to close more homes and you want to make sure these appointments are converting into contracts, this is a training to pay attention to. A couple of resources that you'll have. We're going to spend, like I said, about 15-20 minutes together, and then I want you to have a discussion with the team about this process and ask any questions that you might have to the team. A couple of tools for you. There will be a document that walks you through these processes as well, gives you some scripts, templates, and dialogues, plus the NHS team can help you with your CRM, Salesforce, and helping you create some tools that will make your life easier. So let's get started. I want to share my screen. A couple of things I want to just go over with you. So give me 1 second and I'll pop this up. You know, we used to call this presentation the path to 90% kept. Like, we want to make sure all these appointments are being kept. But what we found, especially with you, you don't have a problem keeping the appointments. You guys are doing a great job. What we want to do for the sales team is, how do we get 1/3 of these appointments to write a contract? Wouldn't that be great? These appointments that are pre-qualified coming in the door, writing a contract 1 out of 3 times. What we know from experience and the statistics is that an online prospect who sets an appointment is easily 2 to 3 times more likely to convert to a sale. And a lot of times that can happen on your first visit. I know there's people in the room that I have worked with personally who love their appointments and who couldn't imagine life without their appointments. So we want to make sure we keep on providing a great customer experience. And I want to just pull the curtain back just a little bit and show you what your online sales team is doing. The NHSs are going through this follow-up process, 7 to 9 touch points with a lead, even if they don't respond. And that's within the first month. So there's an insane amount of follow-up happening beforehand. And when they actually do respond, if you look in the middle of the screen, maybe it's at day 5, maybe it's at day 14. They've had multiple contacts with them. They're going to go through and they're going to qualify this prospect, and then they're handing them off to you. So how does this transition work? What are the best practices for making sure that it works? So we're going to show you those things. But on the note of qualification, I just want to give you guys a word that applies to these leads so we all have the right expectations. We call it appropriate qualification. You might write that down. Again, that word is appropriate qualification. And we call the Goldilocks methods. We want to send over appointments that aren't too hot, but they're not too cold. Right? We don't want to go too far into the sales process because we have to have efficiencies for making sure we can talk to enough people and go through this process. We don't want to handle too much. We don't want to get into quoting them pricing on options or upgrades or getting them dimensions on things. Those are all things that are big buying signals, and we want to move them over to you. So it's that appropriate qualification. On the flip side, we don't want to just set an appointment and send them out to you with no questions being asked or no qualification. That's too cold, right? So we're focusing on appropriate qualification. And what I'll tell you is that we can't always get good information from every prospect. We may be asking questions, but they're not real responsive. We may be asking questions and they're not real forthcoming. Or we may ask questions and they straight up don't tell us the whole story. That's okay. Just remember, anybody who is willing to set up a specific time after knowing the price, the availability, the time frame, is this going to be a fit? That's a great lead. And again, they're 2 to 3 times more likely to write a contract than someone just walking in off the street. How many times will I say that? Maybe a couple more, maybe 2 or 3 times more. 2 to 3 times more likely to write a contract. Now, just to review a couple of things. This is what they're covering with the customers: area, time frame, financing or financial resources, motivation, wants and needs, and authority. So who's involved in this purchase? All the time they're building rapport with these customers over the phone or email, but they want to cover all these questions. So when do you want to be in your new home? Why this area? What area specifically? What's important about it? Where are you moving from? Do you have a home to sell? That's underneath time frame. What's the investment range you're considering? Up to, but no more than. These are the things that they're asking. And tell me about what you're looking for in your new home. What's prompted you to call me? What did you see on the website that you loved? And when they set that appointment, hey, who's going to be joining you? Who's going to be involved in this process? Who's going to be enjoying the home with you? Do you have a realtor? If there's a realtor involved, are they going to be coming with you? We're going to be asking all these questions. And what we want to try and do is package up this prospect in a beautiful gift-wrapped presentation for you with all these questions answered, and we hand them off to you into the CRM, right? And so that's the time where you're going to get involved. So we've been working this prospect, and keep in mind, the goal for the NHS team is to get them to you as quickly as possible. They don't want them hanging out in our database longer than they need to be. The goal is as soon as possible, get them out on site with the professional and the expert to do what you do best. So we don't want to hang on to them for any amount of time. Now, if they've gone through this process, they've appropriately qualified this prospect, and they're setting up a specific time, we want to talk about the handoff process. Now, for most builders, not TriPointe, not any of you, but for most builders, this is what the process looks like. Hope this works out. I'm going to send off this lead. I've really talked with them a lot. I had some good information, but we'll see how it goes. Sometimes they're even doing this. Oh, Lord, please help this appointment, make it on time, and that they have a good, and that the sales rep is paying attention, that the sales rep shows up and he actually opens. This is the process. I'm telling you, it's no joke. You may have a great online sales program, but if you mess it up in the handoff process, we've undone all the work that we've put into this lead. So what does our process need to look like? I love this visual because this basically sums it up. It's a handoff process, right? Just like a relay race. This is what it needs to look like. So everyone needs to start working on their abs, obviously, right? We'll get that down first. But the metaphor and the picture is, you've got two elite athletes. When you think about the people on the relay team in the Olympics, they don't have to teach them how to run. They're already fast. That's why they're on the team. They're not focusing on that. What they spend all their training on is that motion, that handoff, those couple of steps, that transition. Because if you miss it up and you're not in sync, your momentum is lost, and that can cost you the race. If you drop that baton, you're disqualified. So the same thing goes for the handoff process with our appointments. Listen, think about it. We've built up all this momentum. We've established a rapport. We've really got them familiar with our company and all that stuff. We've built our program on speed and responsiveness. And if we go and hand this over and a sales rep doesn't ever reach out before they walk in the door, or if a sales rep, on-site team maybe takes just sends them email and that's it, or doesn't look at the information, the notes before they walk in the door, that's slowing down all the momentum that's been created, right? So we want to make sure we have the right expectations. We're setting expectations for the customer, and the on-site sales team takes ownership. Now, I'm going to say that again. I'm just going to pause for a second. This is something everyone needs to write down. You take ownership of that lead the second you get a notification of that appointment. You're not waiting until they respond. You're not waiting until they get back to you. You're not waiting until you have a conversation with them. You're not waiting until they show up at your model home. You take ownership the second you get that notification. That's like a virtual walk-in that has been handed off to you. And I think once we have that paradigm shift and go, oh, okay, wait a second. Even though I don't have the relationship yet, they are my lead now. This is my prospect. This is my customer. And so that one shift I know has proven to help a lot of organizations, making sure they go, okay, I'm looking at this lead differently. Okay, so let's just walk through the process. I want to show you what the NHS team is doing when they set up appointments, so you understand. First of all, they're going to do a confirmation email to the customer, and they're going to CC you, the sales rep. Why do they CC you on this? They want to loop you right in that program, make it super easy for the prospect to reply all and email you back, and make it easy for you if you're running and gunning to hit reply all and let them know that you've picked it up and introduce yourself to the customer. So they're doing that right away. They're going to provide all the prospect information in the CRM and Salesforce, right? And so they may notify you based on when the appointment's happening, but most of the time that Salesforce notification is all we need to trigger that. They also might be setting an appointment in your calendar as well. So that way you get that on your phone. You can plug that in. We've got multiple reminders here, that CC of the confirmation to the customer, the calendar invite, and the notification from your CRM. 5 alarms, right? Ding, 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 ding. The alarms are going off. You have a new lead. Take ownership. Now, what's great is you get to look at all the digests. They're going to leave great notes for you in the CRM. You're going to see the email history and the back and forth, and you'll be able to get caught up to speed with that customer very quickly. Now, the day before, this is what the NHS team is doing. The day before, there's going to be either a reminder call and or text, letting you know, just, hey, reminder about your appointment tomorrow. We're looking forward to it. And the day after, what they want to do is get a verification from you, which we'll talk about here in a second. Now, 1, 2, or 3 days later, they're going to do a customer courtesy email or call based on how the appointment went. Now, this is crucial. They're not following up with your lead after they've handed off. Remember, ownership is yours. They are just checking in to make sure that the experience was good, that the community was what their expectations were, and it was a good fit, and to help accelerate the sales process for you. So let me just tell you right now, it's a lot easier for your NHS to do this if you've put in notes about the meeting. Hey, everything went great. You know, they love this plan. It seems like it's going to work with their time frame. They've got to go back and get with the financing company, whatever it is. Or they loved everything. I couldn't get a good read of them if they like the paint colors or they like the elevation or the lot, you know, whatever it is. Put those notes in there so that when NHS talks to them, they'll kind of keep some of those things in mind and ask questions around that to uncover it. Because what we know is that even though you're a fantastic salesperson, a customer may not be completely upfront with you. However, they will tell the NHS a lot of things because they can't sell them anything, and they're not face-to-face, and there's no threat, right? So provide good information in the CRM so that when they go to do that customer courtesy email or call or follow-up, they've got good information to work with. And if it's a lights out, hey, this is good, we're writing a contract, make the notes, because all they'll do is send an email, say, hey, it looks like they're taking care of you. Let me know if you need anything else. Okay? So this is what the NHS is doing, right? They got a lot of responsibilities to set this appointment up. It takes about 15 minutes plus after they've even gotten the appointment to go through all this process. They're putting a lot of work in. So multiple points of contact, having that conversation with the customer, and going through this process set up. Now, here's your responsibility. This is what you need to do. And again, you have a document that walks you through this with details and scripts and everything like that. Immediately, we want to do an email and a call. Right away. A lot of people go, "What? I mean, right away. I mean, they just talked to them. They want me to get back." Yes, immediately. Why? We want that trigger to say, show that enthusiasm and that excitement. Speed says, I care to a prospect. So right away, get that introduction email out to them. Right away, if you can, pick up that phone and call them. And maybe you call right away too and say, I'll be sending you an email with my contact information, or vice versa. But one way or another, you want to reach out to that customer as soon as possible, because we built this program on speed, right? So a couple of tips for you. You can do it. You can create an introduction email template. You don't have to rewrite this thing every time. Create that template. You're going to look at the lead and look at the system, see if there's any questions or things that they're specifically interested in, but call attention to the things they were talking about with the NHS. This is huge. Customers love that, and they think it's great because they know you're paying attention and they're not going to have to tell their story again. Now, the next step is, so right away you're going to do that. The next step is the day of. When you roll up into the model home that morning, you're going to call them or text them right away, right? Yes, the NHS is doing this, but you also do that as well, so they have your direct contact. You make sure sometimes people have plans that change. You're not going to ask them about that, but last minute things are coming up. Them having that direct contact or asking you directions or things like that is going to be extremely beneficial, connecting with you in case they're a little bit late, a little bit early, etc. So fire it off that morning. And usually on the introduction call, ask them, say, is it okay if I text you just a reminder the day of? Is that going to be okay? And most customers are totally fine with that. Then the day of, before you leave, this is all we have to do on the verification with the NHS. You don't have to call them and walk them through and tell them everything that happened. You don't have to send a big long email about what happened. You don't have to do any of that. All you have to do is update your notes in the CRM and email the NHS. That's it. Update notes, email the NHS. Update notes, email the NHS. That's all they need from you. They don't need you to text them, call them, anything else. Just update notes and email. Say, hey, appointment went great. Thank you so much. Notes are in the CRM. Boom, done. Takes you just a few minutes to do that. We beg if you do this because then it allows us, one, to confirm that the appointment happened, to see if there's anything they need to do, and it helps them with that courtesy call and email after the fact. So this is the process. It's going to take work. It's going to take you going through the habit. It's going to take a reinforcement from leadership. Leadership who's listening to this, you've got to hold your team accountable. But this is how you increase. It's the easiest way to increase your sales from your appointments, period, hands down. And it provides a fantastic experience. And even the sale that's going to happen anyway, it happens quicker. It happens quicker because we're able to build familiarity. And we'll talk about that here in a second. We want to build that familiarity with the customer before they ever walk in the door. They need to feel like they know you. Okay, so a couple of things I want to show you real quick. Let's blow some minds. All right, you've got the handoff. You've got all that stuff. I got it, Mike. This is great. What if you go one step further and send a video email? Oh my gosh, this is what it's all about. Talk about increasing familiarity. So I want to show this example here. I'm going to actually go show it on the screen. Hopefully the sound comes through okay. Let's pull it up. This is an example of an introduction email that they send out over at Winchester. So check this out.
Hi there, it's Amy Dooling with Winchester Homes. I wanted to introduce you to Ellie Bonner at Cadman Branch. I thought it would be helpful to put a face to the name.
Hi there. I'm so excited to meet with you. My contact information is listed below, so feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions that I can help with. I look forward to meeting with you.
I know that Ellie will take really great care of you, and we'll see you soon.
Oh, we love this because, I mean, think about what this is doing. And think about what I'm doing right now. When you have a video, right, and you are putting a face with the name and they get to see the person they're going to meet with, this helps build that familiarity. I mean, we've heard it over and over again when they walk in the door and they're like, oh, you were the person on video. Hey, yes, oh, great. And they feel like they know you because they can see your body language, your smile, all of that stuff that you can't communicate very well over email. So I want you all to think about doing this. Again, if you want to help, the only thing this is going to do is help you boost sales. That's it. So only do this if you want to sell more homes from the appointments. If you sit down with your NHS and do a video like that, or you create your own Vidyard email and you're just talking like this. Hi, it's Mike. I wanted to send a quick video, put a face with the name, looking forward to our time together. My contact information is below. You got that script from that other one. If you just take a little bit of time and set that up out in front of your model home, you can shoot it right on your cell phone, right from the model home kitchen. When they see you, they will feel better. They will feel better about this process. That video email is extremely, extremely powerful. And what I want to do is talk with you about why it's so powerful. So let's jump right back into this and talk about the psychology behind this, because here's what's going on in our lizard brain, right? In that system that talks, fight or flight, no matter what, even if you're the nicest person in the world, everybody is threatened when they meet somebody new. Doesn't matter. There's a threat, and it's subconscious a lot of times. Like, who is this? What are they doing? I don't know. Are they going to like me? Are they going to be nice? Am I going to say something stupid? We all have that, and it's just deep down inside. So we're threatened. Even if, like I said, even if you're the nicest person in the world, they're scared. But let's face it, we're salespeople, right? They're already scared of us. So they're going to make me buy something. They're going to ask me to write a contract. Oh my gosh, they're going to ask me to give them some money. They know what you're there to do, right? So that threat level is up. They're usually pretty guarded. Now, Only thing that we can do to remove the threat is when they trust us more, right? You guys all know this. People buy from people they know, like, and trust. But that comes when there's an increase in safety. And that only happens when there's familiarity. Okay? So you want to increase the familiarity with your prospect before they ever walk in the door. You don't want to start from scratch when they meet you, because that first introduction, that first meeting is scary for people. So if they've gotten emails from you, if they've heard your voice on the phone, and in the magical utopian world that I'm hoping happens with TriPointe, if they've seen you on video and had a video introduction, that familiarity is up here. And so is the trust. And the threat level drops. And if the threat level drops, they're able to get through. You guys work with the 4-2 process. You understand they're going to give you the motivation and dissatisfaction much quicker than if you're starting over from scratch. So I just wanted to let you know with the psychology, why I'm asking you to do this is not, to make your life harder, right? Or anything like that. This is all about helping with that familiarity, building the trust, and doing that all before the process. That's what it's all about. You talk about coffee worthy, right? That's a concept that Jeff and the team always shares with you over at Shore Consulting. This is coffee worthiness. Sending that video email out beforehand just shows that you care about them and you want to make sure they have a great experience. And here's what we know. I talk about this with a lot of my clients, right? I'm really excited about it because I know it works. I've seen it work. I know that the best salespeople do things like that. And surprise, surprise, they actually sell more homes, right? Both from walk-in traffic and from their appointments. But it is hard to do because it's a new thing. It's a little bit scary. There's a little bit of nerves there. Oh my gosh, I got to be on camera. Let's just get over it, right? The best place to start with video emails, even if you're scared or you're nervous about the way you look, is to do it for an appointment. Why? Because they're going to see you anyway, right? So why not send a video email out to them so they feel like they know you when they walk in the door? All right. So just to recap a couple of things I want to show you. Your responsibility is very simple. Immediately, you own the lead. You're going to jump in with that introduction email on that call. You're going to do that reminder the day of, and then you're going to update the NHS team, right? That's all that you have to do. They have put in multiple points of contact. Even if they did a phone call and the customer says, I want to set an appointment right now, we can get in 5 to 6 contacts before they ever walk in the door. That's increasing familiarity. And surveys say that 80% of customers are purchasing between the 5th and the 12th engagement and contact with a person. Right? So this helps us do it all before they ever walk in the door. It's pretty exciting. Leverage video email. Don't be afraid. That's the biggest thing I can tell you. Take 30 minutes to an hour to set this template up for yourself, right? It's going to take 30 minutes to an hour to get you the next 3-4 appointments that come in for the month. It gets to work every time. Your customers will go bananas. They will love it because nobody's doing it. And the psychology behind this is not, I want to give you more work. TriPointe wants to give you more work. We want to wear you out. No, it's all about leveraging all the hard work that's gone into, 1, paying for and creating the lead, 2, paying for the people and the process to nurture the lead, and 3, taking care of our customers who are more likely to write a contract. The goal for all of TriPointe is 25+% of sales need to be coming from this program. That only happens if we all work together. Okay, a couple quick things for you. And then I want you to take some time afterwards to talk amongst the team and talk about successes, talk about challenges, talk about things that you guys need to change or adjust. We want to leverage that. But shotgun appointments or same-day appointments, what we identify as appointments within 24 hours or less. Do you have to do all these steps of the process? No. The confirmation email from online sales and the NHS team serves as their reminder, and all you need to do is email and or call before, right? So this may happen. They call at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. They want to set up an appointment for 5. We don't need to have 7 touch points in between that time. You're going to do a compressed version of this. So just a little heads up. A big thing that we see, I want to just encourage you, don't sell on the intro call. Resist the urge. I know we're all salespeople, right? But don't, hey, it looks like my head's over that guy. Look, I'm the guy with the contract. Don't sell on that intro call. Resist that urge, because a lot of times what happens is customers will start asking questions and going through this process. And if we're not careful, because they're not there and they haven't seen it or they haven't walked the home site or walked the plan, if we're not careful, we can sell ourselves right out of an appointment. So let's not do that. The tip is use those scripts and dialogues. If they start saying, hey, well, I had questions about this option. What's the pricing on that? That option, what's the pricing on this? Hey, how does that process work? Hey, what's the next step? And how this goes, hey, we're only approved up to 290 and you guys start at 280. Is this enough for us? Do you think it's even worth it? They might ask those questions and you just want to kind of slow them down and say, hey, what I can do is it's probably best to talk about this after you've seen the home or after you've walked the plan or after you come out here and visit. Once you kind of get an idea and we can work together on this, let's identify what plan is the best fit and talk about your time frame and then go from there, right? So I can prepare all this stuff for you and have it ready for our visit. How does that sound? And they're going to say, yeah, that sounds great. You want to get them with you in person where their emotion is up here and their investment level is up here, not trying to do this process over the phone. I just want to encourage you on that. The final thing is the calendar. There are times when we are going to set appointments and it's going to overlap something that you already have. We encourage our NHS team to set the appointment, what's convenient for the customer while they're on the phone. We don't want them to stop and say, well, let me check with the team. Let me see what'll work. Let me look at the calendar and let me get back with you, because getting back with them is extremely hard. So what we want to do is set that appointment. So what means will happen is maybe there's a conflict. Maybe they didn't know you had an appointment. Maybe you guys are both setting things at the same time. There's going to be miscommunication. So 2 things I want to tell you. 1, keep your calendar up to date, because that's a lot of times what they're checking. 2, you own the lead, right? So if there's more than 2 days between, there's more than 24 hours, it's your responsibility as a sales professional to reschedule your appointment, because you know the time best, you know your calendar the best, and you should be reaching out anyway. I'm so sorry. We got our wires crossed. Can we move it up an hour? Can we move it back an hour? You get the idea. Now, if it's a same day appointment, it is the NHS's responsibility. They've got to make sure. They don't want to just be throwing out appointments against the wall hoping they stick. What they want to do is make sure that this time is convenient for you. So check that. You just make sure you have that clear. They're going to set those expectations, but they'll make sure that the time works for you on same day appointments. It's your responsibility if you have to reschedule if it's more than 24 hours. And I'll tell you why. I mean, this is one thing that I want to make sure everybody knows. So everybody, let's just slow down for a second, and I'm going to stop sharing this screen. I want you to watch the video. Look up here in my eyes, because this is the only thing that I'll say that is firm, right? This is a little bit firm, okay? I usually like to have a good time. I'm smiling, but there's something that is crucial that you understand. As an on-site sales team, you may only get 3 to 4 appointments from your NHS team a month, right? You got to keep in mind, they may be setting 30, 40, 50 appointments, right? Because they're spreading these out to everybody. So anything that you do that increases the burden on the NHS team around their appointments slows them down, right? It slows them down. And so what I want to encourage you in this phrase is this. So everybody pay attention. Your NHS team, they should not be spending their time following up with you to figure out, did the appointment happen? How did it go? You know, what's going on? Did they ever come out? Hey, help me out. If they're spending all their time reaching out to you, trying to figure out if it showed up, that is valuable time. They shouldn't be doing that. They should be spending time following up with more new leads to get you more appointments. So if we're creating that extra work for them, and it takes them an extra 10 minutes, 5 minutes per lead, hunting down if this stuff ever happened, that's a collective 250 minutes, right? That's almost 4 to 5 hours a month that they're trying to work with you guys to get this information back, as opposed to making, right, in 4 hours, they could set another, 4, 8 appointments easily. So I just want you to pull open the curtain a little bit and show you all the work that goes in on their end. I just want to encourage you, make sure that you are being responsive, that you treat these leads like when you get them, you should have a different ringtone for when an NHS calls. You should have a different notification. This is an exciting opportunity. And so I just want to make sure that you are helping them out to be more efficient, because the more efficient they can be, the more appointments they can set. So I just want to leave you with that. Now, Again, you've got resources and tools to go over this. You guys as a team need to revisit this frequently. What can you do to enhance and improve this? I want the NHS team to celebrate great successes on the handoff process. But what we know is a fact, a great online sales team cannot work, does not exist without a great sales team, right? This doesn't matter. NHS team doesn't matter. If we're setting appointments for salespeople that can't close, it's worthless. So we've got two elite athletes here on both ends of the spectrum. What we want to do is bridge that gap. And I kind of use that metaphor too of what's the point of having a fantastic drive down the field in a football game if we get stalled and stuck at the 1 yard line and there's no touchdown and the field goal that's blocked. I mean, we got to work together as a team. So they're going to do work on their end, on the front end, but you've got to take that over to the finish line. Now, what I know is the culture of TriPointe is phenomenal. Your culture is what makes a difference. And I work with a lot of builders all across the country, and this is how some salespeople treat the NHS team and online leads. They look at the NHS team as some kind of person that's not even connected in the little office working on the computer and I guess setting us appointment. They look at appointments as a punishment. They're like, why are you putting things on my calendar? Right? There's cultures like that. They go, why are you taking my leads from me? The good news is TriPointe doesn't have that culture. You have a phenomenal culture and a proven track record of working together. And any sales rep that's new listening to me or this for the first time, you've got to understand this is the future of purchasing. More and more people are starting their research and not only starting it online, but spending a majority of their time online getting information. So we've got to make sure that we manage that end of the process to help you with your process. And if we all work together, there'll be more sales in this year and beyond. This is the way it's going to go. So thank you for taking the time to listen to me. I love being able to stream in, and hopefully you guys have enjoyed this session and the presentation. And go out there, shoot some videos, right? Set those appointments and keep that customer experience a positive one. Thanks so much for having me. You guys all have a fantastic day.